Welcome on into the Auburn Express, powered by the War Report. I'm your host, Mike G. Turn us up, turn us on. It's Friday. I'm here with my friend Logan Fowler to talk a little Auburn football. Logan, tomorrow Auburn takes on Texas A&M in College Station. It's going to be a really, really fun one. Auburn's got a little bit to prove coming off what was a really controversial loss. Lots of statements made here by Auburn, by the league, by everybody who had something to do with the controversy there. But you've got to start looking forward. And in looking forward, Auburn has a tough test in that Texas A&M wide receiver room. Mario Craver, one of the best, if not the best, in the country right now as far as production is concerned. You wrote an article about the sizable test Auburn's secondary has having to try to contain these A&M wide receivers. Talk to me about Mario Craver and what you saw and what makes him such a difficult task for Auburn.
Yeah, look, he obviously transferred over to Texas A&M from Mississippi State last year. Auburn fans are probably a little bit familiar with him. He kind of entertained the thought of going to Auburn throughout the recruitment process, but he's flourished with the Aggies this season. He's 147.7 yards per game, which leads the country. I think he leads the country in yards after catch. He's the SEC's leading receiver right now. So he's had 3 straight 100-yard plus games. It's first time since 2012 to be done at Texas A&M. So this guy has he's been off the charts good for Marcel Reed as a go-to option. But it's not just Mario Craver. KC Concepcion, who also is a transfer into this Texas A&M squad this season, has been equally as good. Definitely provides a good 1-2 punch there with him and Craver. He's 7th in the SEC with in receiving yards. The two of them combined have 670 yards and 7 touchdowns. 28 of their 33 combined receptions have all been have all resulted in a first down or a touchdown, and KC Concepcion's 13 receptions have all resulted in a touchdown or a first down. So it's going to be a big test for Auburn. Look, Auburn's secondary, last week against Oklahoma, they played fairly well. But as we've seen throughout the first 4 weeks of this season, Auburn's secondary is, susceptible to giving up a big play. It's definitely been the biggest question mark surrounding this defense and this Auburn squad so far. So, yeah, look, it's gonna be a big test, and Marcel Reed's kind of proven to be a big threat there under center as well.
From appearances, it looked like Auburn dealt with the Oklahoma passing game fairly well this past Saturday. They have one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the nation, John Mateer. However, there's a little bit of a swap here. I'm not sure. Like, Marcel Reed is a great athlete and he's a dynamic quarterback, but I'm not sure that he's the threat to throw that John Mateer was. So there's a little bit of a trade-off here. You've got definitely more dangerous receivers, but maybe a less dangerous quarterback throwing them the ball here. The Texas A&M offense feels a little boom or bust with Marcel Reed at quarterback here. I've got to believe if you're Auburn, it's going to be about just trying to minimize the big plays. Don't let them hit you with anything over the top.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, Marcel Reed, like you said, I don't think he's necessarily going to shred you through the air like John Mateer could have. He didn't, but he obviously possessed that ability. Marcel Reed's definitely a twitchy runner, very athletic guy. I think he's probably going to be the quickest guy out of the backfield that Auburn's seen so far this season. And he ranks number 4 nationally in total offense right now. So he's doing something right.
Yeah.
He's only completing 58% of his passes. So, he's a little bit he puts the ball in some dangerous spots, which could bode well for the Auburn defense, maybe turn them over a little bit and keep it out of the hands of Craver and Concepcion. But I think that Auburn's gonna have to sell out against him in the run. Look, he leads a pretty good Texas A&M offense. I'm not gonna say that that this is necessarily the best, but the numbers do say that this is the toughest challenge that Auburn's faced yet. They're one of 9 FBS offenses who have thrown for 300 yards and rushed for 150 yards.
Oh, there you go.
And,
Mm.
and yeah, so Le'Veon Moss is back this year for Texas A&M. He suffered a season-ending leg injury a season ago. He's kind of their bell cow running back, and him and Marcel Reed provide a pretty good 1-2 punch there in that running game. So Auburn's going to have their hands full, both containing Texas A&M on the ground and limiting them through the air.
It's going to be fun to watch here. It feels like Auburn answered some of their critics about kind of the bend but don't break nature of the defense versus Oklahoma. They came up with a big play in the first quarter. It was taken from them. They've got to figure out a way to turn Texas A&M over in this one here, and that's going to mean getting to Marcel Reed. Hugh Freeze said earlier in the week that this is a better offensive line that Texas A&M has that they're going up against. So it's going to be it's going to be a challenge for that defensive line to try to get to Marcel Reed and kind of disrupt this passing game.
Yeah, I mean, look, Auburn. I think that one thing that Auburn's been pretty strong at this season is, well, obviously their run defense has been great, but you would like to see them probably get home a little bit more on some sacks. Obviously, they're one of the top teams in the country right now in tackles for loss, but yeah, like you mentioned, look, this Texas A&M team up front has been pretty good. Hugh Freeze knows that. He even said that this is probably a more well-rounded football team, and I'm just verbatim there, but or that's not verbatim there, but anywho, yeah, he said this is probably a little bit more well-rounded football team than what the Tigers saw a week ago. Again, you're going to be in a raucous environment at Kyle Field. Top 10 matchup. Look, you're trying to get to looking to avoid 2 straight losses in conference play. I think that one thing that you're going to have to do is get some pressure on Marcel Reed and find a way to do what other teams haven't, and put him on his back. Make sure that he can't get the ball to Mario Craver. Make sure he can't get the ball to KC Concepcion,
Mm.
and you know take that away and see what A&M's offense looks like afterward. Um, if you take away their biggest strength and limit an opportunity to exploit your biggest weakness, then I think that it bodes well for Auburn's defense in this one.
Before we get out of here, how do you see this one playing out? Do you see a shootout possibly? These two teams went to 4 OTs last year before Auburn eventually prevailed. I can tell you I was down there in the end zone, running from end zone to end zone. It was not fun, but at least Auburn came out with the win. Auburn comes in allowing a mere 16.5 points per game. Oklahoma, allowing 28.7 points per game, is dead last in the SEC right now in terms of points per game allowed on defense. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, look, I don't necessarily see it going into the 40s like it did last year,
Yeah.
the big shootout thriller, but I do think that this one's going to be a little bit higher scoring than last week. I could definitely see upper 20s, lower 30s for both of these offenses. I think that um, Auburn's going to get that run game going this week. They have to. Like, it's a must. You have to.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that Auburn's offense is probably going to be firing a little bit better, or more so on all cylinders than it was a week ago when they were just pretty much one dimensional and Jackson Arnold dropped back 49 times. Um, I do think that Auburn's run defense has been pretty dang good throughout the
That's
first 4
that's in the SEC right now.
right? But again, I think that this is probably the biggest test that they're going to face on the ground so far with Marcel Reed and Le'Veon Moss. I think that those guys, shoot, man, they get 5 or 6 ball carriers involved in their offense. So there's a lot of threats coming out of the backfield. I think that Auburn's going to have a tougher time containing A&M on the ground, but that's not to say that I don't think that Auburn still kind of keeps them in check on the ground. I think that again, you could see this kind of get into the upper 20s, lower 30s. I think that this is as close to a must win for Auburn uh, as you can get. I think that Auburn really needs this one. I think they need to get this one on the road to kind of keep their hopes of
Mhm.
making a run for the college football playoff intact. So I think that um, look, I think Auburn can go in and win it. I don't know if I necessarily have 100% confidence that that's
You
going to
picked
happen.
Oklahoma last week. Are you picking Oklahoma? Are you picking
last
Texas
week.
A&M again?
You know what? I'll pick Auburn right here. I'm going
Okay.
Auburn. I think that Auburn's gonna get the win over in Cal Field. I think that Auburn can look again. I think that they're not necessarily desperate. I'm not saying they're desperate, but I think that they know that they've got to go in and get this win in order to kind of keep the train rolling for the rest of the season.
As you mentioned, Auburn, the best rush defense in the league right now, should be noted. As far as A&M's rush defense, they are the fourth worst in the league at 139 yards per game. So that
They
should be
want
noted.
TSA to go for 200 plus yards.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you're Auburn, the best way to limit A&M's offense is to keep them on the sideline to sustain drives, win time of possession by just running the football and taking shots when they're there, and scoring and finishing drives. So if Auburn can do, the one thing Auburn has to do in this one is they've got to stay out of no win long fourth down field goal situations of, like, I would say I don't know if Auburn has a kicker I feel comfortable from longer than 35 yards right now.
No, Alex McPherson did hit a couple of 50-yarders in practice on Thursday. Hugh Freeze said, so maybe we could see Alex McPherson get back out there. But I agree with you. I think that Auburn's going to have to kind of get in the red zone where they've been a perfect 12 of 12 on the year, which is first in the nation, by the way, and finish some of those trips and not necessarily leave it up to a kicker.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun to watch here. I like Auburn in this one. I called this one 33-17. And Auburn's P4 games have been pretty close in the two so far here. So look, I expect Auburn to have success on the ground in this one. I do expect them to have success on the ground in this one. So we're deep enough into the season where the averages should hold. And if you're Auburn, 58 yards per game on the ground is one of the best marks that we've seen through 4 games in the SEC in the last few years. Only the likes of, like, Georgia, I think maybe 2020 Alabama in the COVID shortened season, where we've seen marks that low in terms of yards allowed rushing at this point in the season. So it's going to be fun to watch here.
Like, G, get this. 233 rushing yards have been allowed by Auburn's defense through 4 games, which is the fewest since allowing 231 yards through the first 4 games of the 1994 season.
1994. Oh, wow. Yeah. There's some marks being set here by this defense that, like I said, if the averages hold, I like Auburn in this game because Oklahoma was uniquely manned to stop the Auburn run. A&M's good, but I just don't think they're manned to stop the run the way that Oklahoma was. So if Auburn can run the football and they don't have to rely on boom or bust passing plays the way they had to in Norman, the Tigers come out with the win. Logan, I want to thank you for joining me, senior writer at thewarreport.com, helping us out here. Great stuff there. Guys, do us a favor. Go over to the War Report, read Logan's written work as well as our written work there. We're posting that every day for you guys. Look, we're going to get to the break, and when we come back, we're going to have more Auburn sports talk. We got to talk about Bruce Pearl. My good friend Taylor Davis joins the show to talk to me about his retirement announcement. So we'll get to that right after a quick word from our sponsors, our friends at AMA. That's AIM and Associates. Many firms won't even talk to you unless you have a certain amount of money to invest. Abel's I Know More and Associates takes a different approach. There are no minimum account sizes because they believe disciplined investment management should be accessible to anyone ready to take their portfolio seriously. Their independent fee-only model ensures your money is managed with your best interest in mind, nothing else. So whether you're just starting to invest or already managing significant assets, they'll meet you where you are. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit AIMAINC.com today. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron More and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iron More and Associates is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Also, want to thank our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Need a smoke shop that's always close by? Sky Tobacco and Vape has you covered all over Columbus and even across the bridge in Phoenix City. Whether you're cruising down Airport Thruway, rolling along Victory Drive, or making a pit stop on the 280 bypass, they got a spot ready for you, from vapes to tobacco and everything in between. Sky Tobacco and Vape is your one-stop shop for good vibes and great deals. A swing through today. Chances are they're already on your way. Also want to thank our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights and code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills. The summer may be over, but fall brings great weather, and that means you should be outside grilling on a Golden's Cast Iron grill or staying in shape with some Golden's Cast Iron weights. Work out, grill out, chill out with Golden's Cast Iron. Also want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. If you have some traditional ailments that might require some non-traditional remedies, the Rogue Shop could be your place. Give them a look again at rogueshop.com. Our guy Richard, longtime sponsor of the show, dropping a little something extra in there for everybody using code REPORT a day. So please go visit them. Hopefully they got something there that can help you out. That's it. Joining me to talk a little Auburn basketball is my good friend Taylor Davis, sideline reporter for ESPN. Taylor, this week we got news. Bruce Pearl has retired. I wanted to get your perspective on this. I appreciate you giving me a little extra time to talk Auburn basketball. They not only is he retired, he's handed the reins to Stephen Pearl.
Yeah.
I sat down with Stephen Pearl one-on-one. I'm pretty sure I like this move.
I'm pretty sure
I like this move. There are those out there who will say this is a nepotism hire and this and
Yeah.
that. I just know Stephen well enough to know he worked his butt off to be in a position where this was even a possibility. Because look,
For sure.
Bruce pushes a lot of weight, but the people who write the checks, if they don't want this, it's not happening.
Absolutely.
And the fact that so many people had to sign off on this tells me that Stephen did what I think that he did, and he put himself in a good position for them to say yes. But you were on campus as a student prior to Bruce Pearl, and you covered his introductory press conference when he got hired.
I did.
Give us some perspective here on what Bruce Pearl has done for Auburn basketball and that culture. It was, when Jason and I were in school, you could pick up basketball tickets on the ground outside Beard Eves.
Yeah. I mean, I think the better question is, what has Bruce Pearl not done for Auburn basketball?
Yeah.
Because truly he has made it a top 15, top 10 program in the nation. And when I think back to the years I was in school from 2010 to 2014. I remember walking the concourse to the Haley Center and people handing out food vouchers if we would come to the basketball game. They were bribing students to go to basketball games. So to see the contrast now of students in tents days before games trying to camp out to get a good seat, like the juxtaposition of the two realities is startling. And it's because of a guy like Bruce Pearl. And what I think is so great is Bruce Pearl was absolutely the right fit for Auburn. And it feels like Auburn was the right fit for Bruce Pearl. Like, I genuinely believe he has loved and adored his time to the point that he wants to stay. He said in his announcement video, they're not moving. He wants to stay involved around Auburn. He's going to be at sporting events. He was at the Baylor game. I mean, this guy loves Auburn, and boy, has Auburn loved him. And I think that it is one of the most commendable jobs in college basketball history, what he has done, because of where we started and the fact that Auburn was truly a football school. I remember feeling when football season would end as a student, like, what the heck do we do now? It really did feel that way. And the fact that we go sports season to sports season is so much better for the entirety of the brand of Auburn University. I think that the Stephen news is really interesting. But look, if if you think that this was a blindside for anyone involved, you're dead wrong. Like these players knew, the staff knew, like this has been in motion. Okay. He didn't just, now as a fan, you may feel blindsided. I mean, I thought I got broken up with yesterday when the news came out, but it's why the team is going to stay intact, because they knew what was going to happen. They knew the plan, and Steven continuing the legacy and continuing to operate things the way Bruce did is why this move could happen 6 weeks before the regular season starts.
Yeah,
We are so close to tip off. Like news like this happening, there was no way they were going to go through a coaching search. They aren't anticipating guys are going to hit the portal, because this was all handled internally before we all found out about it. I am absolutely devastated because I love Bruce Pearl with my entire heart, but boy, what an impact has he had on Auburn. We were so lucky to have him.
Very, very lucky to have him. Auburn gave Bruce a chance after the show cause at Tennessee. Auburn gave Bruce a chance, and I think that Coach Pearl rewarded Auburn for that trust. He went door to door, getting people to come out and support Auburn basketball, and they came out. And I mentioned how easy it was to get a ticket to a basketball game, around the time you and I were in school, but standing room only is like $300 for Auburn, Kentucky now.
Unthinkable. You have to have like a connection these days.
Yeah. The season ticket wait list, it's like 10 years long.
No,
it's not an exaggeration. Yeah. So
I just never dreamed it would be something like that. And I can remember, like you said, I covered his introductory press conference. I was a student reporter at Eagle Eye. So I went and I covered it. I graduated like a month and a half later. He was still under what do you call it? Probation. He was still on probation when he was hired. And so his introductory press conference, he comes in and he says the "I'm back" line, and he's got this like little jab to him. And then a few weeks later, when the probation was officially lifted at midnight, students went to the arena to like celebrate him at midnight when the probation lifted. I would guess there were maybe 60 kids out there jumping around. We videoed it for Eagle Eye, like whatever. I would imagine if there was some kind of ceremony to honor Bruce Pearl's career, whatever, you would have probably thousands of people. Like the impact. And I can just remember where it all started in 2014 to where it is now, and just what he's become for the university as a whole, not just the basketball program. He is truly leaving a legacy, and he will be a legend. Like, let's start the statue building, because no one did more for a basketball program in the last decade than Bruce Pearl did at Auburn.
Unbelievable career. He had 2 Final Fours in 6 years
for a program that had never been.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane to think about.
Yeah, one missed double dribble away from probably being national champions. Bruce Pearl.
Virginia. And you know what? It's an interesting comparison that's being made, because it's kind of similar to what Tony Bennett did last year. He didn't announce he was leaving Virginia until closer to tip off. I think it was like 3 weeks before season started, and it made way for his assistant to be the only option at head coach. Yes. I can understand where people are seeing that, like Bruce potentially forced the hand, like you don't have time to go look for someone else. But Steven's been learning and becoming the next coach for years. This didn't just start today or yesterday. This has been the intention. And I think because of what Bruce was able to do at Auburn, he molded this thing and fine-tuned it to not just any, broad landscape. It was very particular to Auburn. Like you said, going door to door, being a part of football and baseball and what, like, he became a fixture in the community because he knows that resonates with Auburn people so much. That wouldn't have moved the needle at so many other programs. He knew what would work at Auburn. And so his son knows what works at Auburn. So I actually don't see the direct comparison, just because the timetable is kind of similar. I think the administration probably was expecting that whenever Bruce is done, we have a guy ready to take the reins.
Yeah. I want to close just reiterating a very smart point you made about the timing of this and nobody being surprised by it. Because Bruce is sticking around, that's what lets you know that they did everything to make sure, number one, they could maintain the roster for at least Steven's first year. He got signed to a 5-year contract. So this isn't some interim deal. They committed to him to 5 years. So if they want to get rid of him, I assume there's going to be a very large buyout involved. But because Bruce is sticking around, he had to leave the program in good shape.
Yes.
Every father works to create advantages and opportunities for his kids. So I have absolutely zero problem with this. If Auburn felt like they could do better, I think they would go out and do better. But this is what's best for Auburn, first and foremost. And if it wasn't, I don't think they'd be doing it. Taylor Davis, always appreciate your perspective on all things, including Auburn basketball. Hopefully this season, you and I will have a lot to talk about as the Tigers hit the hardwood in November. As always, before we get out of here, tell people where they can find you.
Don't you think it's just gonna be so weird this basketball season though? Like I've just gotten so used to his personality. I mean, I'm like, how is Auburn and Bruce Pearl have become synonymous? It's gonna be so weird. But you know,
I have a good relationship with Stephen Pearl, so it's gonna be just.
I'm excited for Stephen. Yeah. I really am. I mean, I do think that wow, what an opportunity that your first head coach job is one of the best in the country. You know what I mean? But I do think he's ready. But shout out to Bruce, an incredible career. Thank you for everything you did for Auburn. I'm naming my firstborn Bruce, which is tragic if it's a girl, but I love him so much and I wish him well in retirement. All right, everyone, you can find me on social media wherever at Taylor Beth Davis and ESPN's college football broadcast. This week I will be on Louisville Pitt at noon Eastern.